photographs are particularly interesting because they have so much to do with memory and then not memory. You're both there and not there. You're at one remove. You're looking at, you might even be looking at yourself in a slightly different time. So you have one foot in the past and one foot in the present. There's no other medium that you have that experience. In some odd way, the old overviews of the city are more moving and more telling than the current ones because they sort of expose a naked city. They're so much barer. You see the skeleton of what's there now. So if you're standing in the middle of the city now and you can keep that skeleton in your mind, you have a very different way of feeling and experiencing both the city and its history. One of the things that you notice as you come into more recent times is how obviously the values have changed. When the first people came through on the Santa Fe Trail, they looked down at Santa Fe and they expected a city. And they saw what they called a bunch of, just mud huts. They were underimpressed, to say the least, but then they started moving in, and I think picket fences and trees and so forth came in, but it wasn't that the people were so poor or so ignorant or whatever that they didn't have picket fences and trees. They just didn't want picket fences and trees. Then in 1912, they flattened everything, literally flattened the roofs back to Pueblo Revival to make it all look Pueblo-ish again, which is ironic because that's what they had not liked when they moved in, the Anglos, and so they kind of re-Hispanicized, re-Indianized the town so that tourists would come. And I quote Debbie Jaramillo, our former mayor. Yeah, they came in and they painted downtown brown and moved all the brown people out, which is all too true. The old woman standing on the corner, my first impulse is to wonder how she was made to stand on that corner and have her picture taken, because she's just sort of caught as an image in somebody else's mind. Native people and quaint people and exotic people tend to be very exploited when people take their pictures.
The royal city of the Holy Faith of St. Francis, the name the Spaniards gave Santa Fe when it was founded in 1609, has been a capital city continuously for over 300 years. Santa Fe is a mecca for those who would discover anew the glories of a bygone era.
Santa Fe has an incredibly intense relationship to its past. In a funny way, it can never lose its past because it's not an industrial center, it's not a recreational center as such, and the past is what has made Santa Fe what it is. There's this sort of static image of what Santa Fe was like, probably in the late 19th and early 20th century, when most of these photographs were taken. All of these views allow us to sort of see ourselves in a mirror we're not used to looking into. They show what has become of the city. So a whole history is spread out before us in these photographs. But even at face value, they clue us into the conclusions that we might otherwise overlook.